Last week we weighed Carlos, our Mk8 2018 Jumbo Transit that we've converted into an off-grid camper van. Unfortunately, things didn't go quite to plan, and this left us with just one option, and that is to upplate the van. That is to increase the amount of weight that each axle is legally allowed to take. So that's what we're going to do. So as you've seen in previous videos, we've already upgraded the leaf suspension and upgraded the shock absorbers front and back. We've also put sumo springs on as well. So we have done some work to start the upplating process. So we contacted a company called SV Tech, quite a popular company in the UK who deals with upplating, and gave them all the information about the van, about the upgrades we've got, the new tyres, the new wheels, new suspension, etc, etc. Anyway, they've come back and said, yeah, no problem, we can upgrade your vehicle, no problem at all. However, if you was to install air assisted suspension on the rear axle, we can give you a higher payload on that axle itself, so we can upplate that axle even further. So we thought, why not? So that is exactly what we're going to do today. We've gone to a company called Martech UK, not sponsored. We're not sponsored by them, but we are going to use their product. And as with everything we use, we're going to show you exactly how we install it. So let's dive in and see exactly what they've given us. We have a nice shiny compressor. We have a nice pair of airbags. Sorry. We've also got some air lines. We've got some brackets to fix the airbags on. We've got the wiring loom there for the compressor. Lots of fixings. And we've got the control box there, so where the switch and the valve will go on. We've got the pressure gauge there. So that's that. And then most important, instructions to show how to put it all together. I'm sure we will definitely be needing those. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is install the compressor. But before we do that, it does come with a little air filter. So we just need to attach that to the inlet there. We've got a little nipple, goes on there. And then we take a bit of tubing and then just connect it up from there to there. And then that's that little job done. Right, so it goes on there like so. There's a little diagram there, comes with a diagram, shows you exactly how to do it, but it's quite self-explanatory. 16mm spanner, give that a bit of a tighten, and then we just take a little bit of this, pop that on there. It does help if you just soak this in some hot water. Sometimes, like that, they go straight on. There we go. Right, I'll cut that off, attach that on, and then that's done. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to mount the compressor here, which is a little void space which is surrounded by all the ducting for the diesel heater. It's not going to be used for anything else, and it's going to be boxed in later anyway. So that can live there. The pipes, the hose, that can be connected onto here and then run into here and then down the pillar, underneath the van and along to the bags. I've already got a fuse box here anyway for the diesel heater and the water pumps, so that pump can connect to there quite easily. And then the control and the pressure gauge I might just mount on there on the bottom of the pillar, and then we can just access that as and when we need to. Right, so this system only operates the airbags up and down on the rear axle. It doesn't go side to side. They both go up and down at the same rate at the same time, so we can't level the van side to side, and it'll only level a little bit, probably a few degrees up and down longitudinally, so we're not really going to use it for leveling. The only time we really use it is for giving extra clearance underneath the back of the van. If we've got a ramp or we're coming off a steep hill or something, it'll come in handy for that, which we can just come into the back and lift it up if we need to and lower it when we don't. So that's going to go on there, bottom of the pillar, and then the pipe can go down here. There's a little hole here covered up by this aluminium tape. Pipe work can go down through there and then down under the van, and then we're good to connect it up to the airbags. So I think that's probably the best option. Right, there we go, nice and secure. A little bit of a wobble, but it's on rubber mounts, so it doesn't vibrate too much, so that's fine. I'll secure that hose down, that braided hose. I'll secure that down there and then connect up to here. So the next thing we need to do is get this rigged up because there's nothing inside here. So what we need is instructions. Now they've actually given us all the instructions for all of the different types of systems you can have, which is really good. So if we do want to upgrade later on, we can just buy the extra switches and bits and pieces, and then we've got the instructions to do it. So it says please refer to 2. So number 2, that's this one. Compressor, a little pipe goes to a T section, then goes off down under the van to the bags. Then it comes off here through another T section, and then you've got the pressure gauge and a little Schrader valve, so you can release the air if you've gone too far with pressure. So in here, the gauge. So we need a pipe to come off. We need a T bit here. We need to put the Schrader valve in here, connect those up, and then the pipe out, and then we've got to put the switch in here, run that down and out the hole as well. Okay, Schrader valve goes in there. Put that back on. Goes on, that goes on there. That's for the pipe, and then you got your little valve cap on there. So we just tighten those up. Right, so we need a little T-piece. There we go, little T-piece there. So that will go in there. So we need a little bit of pipe in there, a bit of pipe around there. Pipe goes in there. Let's just loosen that off. So sometimes it makes it easier if you just heat these up in some hot water, but I think I can get this on okay. There we go. Let's get it over the barb. There we go. And then put that in there, tighten that up. Right, so we've got an 8mm spanner. Just give that a bit of a tighten. I don't want these popping off, because if these come off, instantly your air pressure's gone. Right, so next put that on there, pop that on there, that's it, and then tighten that one up. Nice easy connections to make. That is a 10mm. A few different size spanners for this job. There we go. That's that. Turn that round. Let's loosen that off, turn it around a bit. Okay, so I just need another pipe to go from there to there now. Should be enough. Use the adjustables. I can't find my 12mm spanner. It's all pretty self-explanatory, really. Put that in. Quite tight, but then that's good because it means it's not going to come off. Obviously we'll leak test all of these once it's under pressure. Right, there we go. So that's that connected up, and the pipe will come out there. Next we're going to put the switch in there, which is here. Quite a lot of cable. Might be able to cut this down if we don't need it all. So that's the end we want. The switch. So we're just going to undo these. 1, 2, 3. Pop them in. Try to keep an eye on which way round they are. And then 1, 2, 3. Come it back up again. Right, that's that connected up there. Then we just pop that into the hole. So it'll snap into place. There we go. And then that is that bit done. Just need to connect the pipe. Right, next thing we need to do is we need to connect a little T-junction there onto here. So we need a little pipe, a little bit of pipe on there. Here's one I made earlier. So this is coming from the compressor. There we go. We just tighten that up as well. Try not to twist the pipe while we're doing it. That'll do for now. And then we've got to have another little bit which will go up to the control, up to there, and then that bit of pipe will go down through here, down to the underneath the van. I'll just secure all of this down. Pipe can go through there. And that. Don't know, we're going to tighten this up. It's really awkward getting this in here. Like that. That'll go on there. Pipe will go through there. I think I might just put a bit of a longer pipe off that compressor feed there. With that. Bit of a longer one on here, I think, just to give it a bit of extra give. And then we'll carpet the pillar, and then we'll put that on there, and then that part of the job done. Right, so we've moved the van somewhere a little bit more level so we can jack out and work underneath. The carpeted pillar, that's done. Don't look too bad really. Nice finish. Just got to clean the glue off. Goes everywhere, that stuff. We're going to make a small hole here. There's a hole behind here somewhere. It's there somewhere. And we'll poke the pipe from there, poke it down through and down under the floor. Right, poke that in there like that. And then, yeah, there we go. That looks all right. Shame the hole wasn't half an inch further that way, but because then it'll be nice and straight, but we can't help that. So that'll do nicely. We'll screw that on and then we'll get underneath the van. Okay, so what I've done, I've got the airline, I've just got to tie the airline up there, tidy that up. That's come along here. It's come along this cross member here, and I've got the join little T-piece here. Thought I'd do it in the middle, just like the diagram, and then you've got one tees off and goes to that side. So you can see the sumo spring still in there, and then another one comes along here, and that's just curled up here, waiting for this one to be removed. Nice and easy, literally just one long pipe to the middle, tee off, and then one to each side. Ooh. Keep banging my head on the spare tyre. Incidentally, I like to put that on the back doors, so if anyone's got any recommendations for a Ford Transit spare wheel holder for the back door, with or without a ladder, I'm not sure yet which way we want to go, so give some suggestions in the comments below. Right, let's have a look at the bellows themselves. So these are 2-air bellows. These are what's going to be replacing the sumo springs that we've got on the van already. So they've got nice thick rubber on here, nice construction on them, very sturdy. Definitely going to withstand the weight. We've got mounting brackets. This one goes on top like so. A couple of mounting holes front and back. That's where the hose goes into, pneumatic hose. That hole there, that's where we go up through this and into the cross member. So that's where the existing sumo springs are actually bolted into currently, and then this will sit nicely over the or underneath the cross member. Okay, and this is the bottom bracket. So this sits over the existing stop. This will be the new bump stop here where it touches. This goes down and you'll have the cross member that comes through here, that clamp onto that, and then that'll just sit on top of there, bolted on as well. Should be nice and simple. Right, so garage fitted our 3-leaf suspension. So there's the 3 leaves there. We've got the sumo spring sitting there, which we installed ourselves. And then just looking around here, you can see there we've got Bilstein B6 shock in there. Right, let's get the socket up inside the sumo spring. Jacked it up already to give us a bit of extra room. So we've got a 17mm socket on there. A couple of extensions, put the socket on there. It's a difficult one to do. I don't want to put my hand underneath the ratchet in case it falls off the jack, because then my finger's going to be stuck between the sumo spring and the rear axle. I have got some thread lock on here, so this is, I remember putting this on 2 years ago, and yeah, it was stiff putting it on. It's a long bolt. There we go. One sumo spring off. Really good condition. It's been on there 2 years. It's really good. If anyone wants any sumo springs from Mk8 Transit, drop us a message. Maybe we can do a deal. Facing the spring. So it goes over there. Like so, sits on there, and then that goes over there, Then we just tighten that up, so that's nice and easy. Get that started. I'll get the other side on. And those are going to be 17mm. I'll do this loosely because you do need to move it up and down just to line it up with the bellow. Once the bellow's on, tightened up, we'll tighten this bracket up. That's fine because I can move that still. That's great for now. Okay, next up is the top bracket. So that goes that way around there. Doesn't help that I've got the pipe work in the way for the water, but it should be all right. Oh, there's a bit of the chassis sticking out. I think I can get it in. That's it. Lovely. Righto. There we go. So that goes in there like that. We'll tighten that up. Righty tighty. That's it. Okay. This can be done up nice and tight because we're going to cover this up. This won't come out because it's the it'll be sandwiched between the bracket and the airbag baffle. There we go. Nice and tight. That's nice and flush. Lovely. Right, so we need to pop the air hose through there like so. Go that way round, James, come on. That's it. We'll attach the airbag. Nice and easy, there we go. Pops on, same as the other connections, and then tightens up with a nut. That's a 10mm one, that one. The only trouble with this, it does twist the pipe. So you've got to try and untwist the pipe as you're turning it, the nut. There we go, that's as tight as it's going to go. Don't want to break it. Now the valve goes up through that hole there, and then we turn that around, and there should be a couple of bolt holes at the top. If I can see them. Right, okay. I think that's lined up. That goes in there. The other one, just a nut and a washer, so a bolt and a washer. Goes on there, and then we just got to line those up, screw them in. It's the hard part, trying to line up these holes. Oh, that was lucky, straight in. Okay, there's the second one. So, get a socket on those, underneath there, and into the hole at the bottom of the bellows, if I can find it. There you go, it's the first one in the bottom. Right, there you go, that is pretty much in place. Just needs a bit of tightening up. Everything's lined up nicely, pipe is in. That looks good. We'll get that tightened up and then come back to you in a sec. And there we go, all done, all tightened up. Now just got to move on to the other side. Take that Sumo spring off, put the new bellow on, and we're good to go. Well, that was a pig of a job. Made only worse by the fact we got the Sumo springs and they're a pain to get on and off. So yeah, all done. There it is. There's one side. There's the other. Let's try them out. Right, into the controls. Let's see if this works. Getting some pressure. Yeah, pressure's going up. It is rising. It's great. It's working. So we've got about 2 bar of pressure in there at the moment. Really good clearance on the wheel. That's much more than we had before. Around the other side. Yeah, look at that. Loads of clearance. You can just about see the front Bilstein shock in there. So that one's all been fitted nicely by the garage. Well, there you go. That's how you fit air suspension to the back of a Mk8 Jumbo Transit. So that's increased the payload capacity on the rear axle. We'll send photographs of that to SV Tech, who is the engineering company dealing with the upplating process. We'll show you more about that process in the next video, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. Also, there's a new hype function on YouTube now, so if you press the hype as well, it hypes the video. It gives us a little bit of an extra boost with the algorithm. All helps the channel. Doesn't cost you a penny, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.